What does it mean to be a man? How does a man behave? What does a man say? What does a man do? Is there one size fits all for men? Or are we all unique in our expression? We all share the same mind, yet how we express manhood and masculinity differs greatly. Stay tuned so we can explore this together. This might come as a surprise to most of you, and something that is not considered to be the norm. But if you observe manhood with a set image, then we might be preparing ourselves for failure to understand and interpret what manhood is. I, as a man, experience manhood in a completely different way than another man. This is so because we have different life experiences and we all experience this same reality in a different way. I can, for example, consider masculinity going chopping wood and going to the gym and being a protective father, which I hope to be one day. For another man, those things might be completely insignificant, but he might excel at other things that make him a man. For us men to understand what it means to be a man, we need to understand our own nature. The reason most of us cannot understand our nature is because of our heavy conditioning and how conditioned we are by society, culture, and each other to perform. There is this thing called the burden of performance that is often placed on men, which means that they should always be the protectors and providers. And don't get me wrong, that is the role that we fulfill gladly. It is us men who simply want to do it from a state of freedom rather than obligation and duty. And once again, there is nothing wrong with duty. But duty needs to come from that place of freedom where we are allowed to be free. Both men and women should be free. But we're talking about masculinity here, about manhood, and about what it means to be free as a man. And it means to have options and opportunities displayed and shown in real life that allow for a man to grow. So much of modern day propaganda, from feminism to Gillette commercials, are inhibiting the growth of men and the development of men. I'm not preaching this as the default. I invite you to explore this with me and to do your own research and to see if this is true. I'm not assuming for a second that what I say is true. I say what I know and I wish to see in the world, in the real example, through interacting with the world like this, to see if this is true or not. Because I feel that it is, and it's more than a feeling. As a man, I have the impression that we are dying out, that we're a dying species, that real, genuine, honest, strong, fair men are a dying species. One of the reasons for this is because the traits that I would perceive about men to be masculine and healthy are perceived as unhealthy and, so to say, toxic by certain individuals. Qualities such as directness, straightforwardness, aggression in sense of striving towards a desired goal, and simply fighting and struggling through life and climbing the socio-hierarchical ladder, simply trying to make a good living for ourselves in a competitive market, which we do choose to be a part of. We cannot survive if we don't partake in the competitive markets that we live in today and in societies that are built the way they are. Therefore, our innate nature is being brought out, which is competitiveness, which is anger. And instead of us being told that we are toxic and evil, we should instead be helped to understand ourselves and each other better, to know how to approach our anger and emotions healthily, and to invite women to do that alongside with us, not be afraid of us, and not discriminate us and hate us. Because the hatred we receive from the opposite sex makes the situation a whole lot worse. And no one is winning in this. There are no winners if men and women are divided. We have been divided so many times before on so many different levels. There was COVID and the vaccine opinions, pro-vaccine, anti-vaccine. Ones being called anti-vaxxers, other being called conspiracists, and world dominators. There is no end to this. As long as we have a label and an image of what something is, in this case manhood, masculinity, we are going to be ideologically and philosophically opposed as people. That is why it's so important that whenever we have a conflict, that we come together and discuss what exactly the problem is. So often we search for the solution from where we are, and therefore we branch the problem even more. We can never get to the bottom of it because we've come so far from it. But if we sat together, men and women, and had a conversation on this, I cannot know what would happen, but I'm sure it would have been different than what we're doing today. Men need support, and women need support. We are different, men and women. We are not equal. We're not meant to be equal. There is no equality if each of us is unique and different. Any tendency and strive towards equality brings even more inequality. Fighting for peace is not peace. Peace only can be peace. And it can only be achieved if we come together and not fight. So understanding manhood is understanding that men need to be understood as much as women do. That men need opportunities to mature and grow. And if men did make mistakes, they should be rehabilitated, given an opportunity to correct them. Same as women, same as anyone else. We should not divide and discriminate. Yet we punish men more severely for crimes than women. Yet men are often the ones being abandoned in a marriage and the ones not getting the custody over children. It is the men who, just because of a false or maybe alleged rape accusation, can lose their entire careers and life. We should not allow this kind of behavior. We should come together and see what we can do about this together by understanding what exactly the problem is. Because it is not in us men, and it is not in you women. We can do this. Let's do it together. This one was a bit different today. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. If you like this video, please show support so that this video can find the right audience through the algorithm. And I want you to know how much I appreciate your support and everything you've done so far. Thank you, and see you in the next one. Bye.